Hello again, people of the internet. My feed as of late has been swarming with very heavy anti-Trump, anti-American, anti-MAGA, anti-MAHA, Make America Healthy Again movement, the whole 9 yards. And I gotta say, I'm very disappointed in the ability of those who are perhaps of a different political opinion than myself, to process and reflect upon their own behavior. I'm not a perfect person by any means, but I do try to keep myself at least somewhat grounded, um, in the recognition that I'm nothing special. I'm just a guy. I'm in a car. I'm sharing my thoughts. And sometimes I hit the mark, sometimes I don't. It really just kind of depends. But the content is here for anybody that wants to look at it to say, okay, yeah, well, all right, I can see that. Or this guy is totally stupid. Whatever the case, I try to keep myself at least somewhat grounded. What I see out of all of you who are so distraught over the fact that our election went the way it did, I got to ask you, where the hell do you get off on this idea that you're still in the right when you, by your actions, the violence, the hatred, the attempted assassinations, yes, I said it, the whole 9 yards, has all come from your side of the fence when you start digging into the nitty-gritty of motivations behind these people. And without fail, you immediately try to make it out to be that it's our problem and it's our fault. Just like with Kamala's message of fight, when we fight, we win. Trump had the same message. Fight for America. Fight for American people. Fight for American values. Fight for us. We've had a government that has completely neglected us for years, decades even. I wasn't privy about it. I was born towards the end of Reagan's second term. And I saw Bill Clinton and what he did. No, he wasn't exactly a horrible president. He wasn't a great president either. He was just kind of there. Bush, he got us involved in the war in the Middle East that lasted for over 20 years. At first, I was kind of supportive of it, and then I realized, nah, shit's whack. And I became very disenfranchised with the Republican Party. Plus, I had a lot of conversations with those who were Democrats at the time. I don't know where they're at now, but just people that I've known and talked to on the web and in other ways that helped me understand that things are not kosher on the Republican side. And I started to see more and more just how greedy the Republican Party had become. I became very disenfranchised with that, and I moved over to, I wouldn't say I was necessarily a hardcore Democrat, but I moved towards more blue. And then I started seeing the same patterns going on with the Democrat Party, only in this case, it was gaslight your political opponents for things that you are guilty of causing and creating, and then turn around and finger point at their solutions like they're the ones that are doing the horrible job. In truth, it's both. We got a lot of neocons on both sides of the fence. We got a lot of people that pay us empty lip service. So I became very disenfranchised with politics altogether. I saw Obama essentially drive our country into the ground financially, and he kept talking about our best days being behind us. Then there was a small uptick towards the end of his second term, and it was a grudge match between Trump and Hillary Clinton. Neither one of those I wanted as president. Neither one. I didn't want Trump. I didn't want Hillary. I didn't want either one. I found so much that I disliked about both of them. I did not want them. Trump, it was more the fact that he was an egotistical loudmouth. And there were some claims, that he was into some shady stuff. I remember Panama Papers being kind of a thing where his name cropped up. So I was not a fan of Trump at all. But I also did not want Hillary because of the things that she's been guilty of and the scandal that she was going through at the time, the email scandal. But 2016 went the way it did. And over the next 4 years, I didn't really pay too much mind or too much attention to the state of things, the state of my life. I just knew that I was having an easier and easier time of being able to afford stuff. And I got a little careless and reckless with my money, and that's partly my fault. But I was also almost debt-free. And then, out of the blue, somebody challenged me regarding the whole Russian collusion thing. Now, at this point in time, I wasn't really on board with Trump, but I just could not buy the whole Russian collusion bit, especially since I'd gotten so damn tired of the narrative that he was this horrible, evil, corrupt man. But I was challenged on it, and I read it. I read the initial investigation, the Mueller report, and the special counsel investigation. And without fail, I always ended up finding out that it was really just a really big fancy word salad that says, well, we can confirm that Trump did meet with these people, or we can confirm that this particular aspect did happen, but whether or not any crime was committed, we cannot confirm or deny. Like, that was really it. They could not confirm or deny. So really what turned out to be a big, huge word salad to state, we think he's guilty, but we can't really find evidence that conclusively states that he's guilty, so therefore, we're not sure. So I took that, and I recognized that our legal system is one that works under the premise that you are innocent until proven guilty. And I said, okay, well, by default, that essentially means that Trump is innocent. If you think that he's guilty, give me something more concrete to prove that. And every new accusation that came out, I was searching at and digging through vehemently. By the time August 2020 rolled around, I saw the Summer of Love. I saw billions of dollars worth of damages. I saw the city of Chaz being put up. It was first Chad or whatever. Then it became the city of Chaz. And it was total anarchy in these locations. I saw the chaos and devastation and destruction and people's livelihoods completely ruined under the Summer of Love banner, and people's lives lost. Most of them were small business owners. Some of them were even black. Their lives were lost because the hatred was that intense. Billions of dollars worth of damages all across the union. Trump wanted to engage our military to try and stop this stuff from happening and to promote law and order. And guess who stopped him? Democrats. You guys. You guys, your political class did not want this to go through. They didn't want this to happen. And there was a lot of Republicans that did the same thing. A lot of neocons. At any rate, this all took place. And that, at that point in time, my views of Trump really began to sway from I don't want him to kind of a reluctant ally to, well, okay, I guess this is the game we're going to be playing. Mind you, the pandemic was already going on at this time, and I was not a fan of my state closing down, and I had to look at that one too, because like everybody else, I blamed Trump for that. Only to find out that even though he expressed his disagreement, he still allowed people to make up their own mind. He gave the governors the guidelines that were permitted and said, you know, I disagree, but here's the guidelines of how to handle this. By all means, do what you think is right. So we let our governors decide what was going to happen in our states and what wasn't. And that turned me on to my local governors and my local positions, and really kind of caused me to have a lot of jaded feelings there as well. Case in point, I discovered over time that the things that people were trying to blame Trump for, he actually was not as guilty of or as complicit in as people thought. And I kept digging. 2020 election rolled around. I cast my vote. First time I ever registered in, a good 12 years after voting for Bush for a second term. First time in 12 years. So that was all of Obama. That was pretty much all of Bush, the rest of Bush's second term, and the first part of Trump's term. So that was good 12, maybe 20 years, somewhere around there. I don't know. But I finally registered to vote again because of Trump and because of what I saw. And I said, you know what? I do not like Biden. 50 years, and that man has been behind some of the most heinous actions I've seen. And he showed himself to be somebody who just was not a very bright fella. Pretty dim bulb, in my opinion. Trump, yes, he was crass. Yes, I still had my issues with him, but I voted for him. And then the morning after rolled around. Now, history with our elections has taught us that usually the day after votes are cast, you have a pretty damn good idea of who your president is going to be. We didn't find out until about 3 weeks later because of all the weird things that I saw. 99% of a tally that hit about 3 a.m. the following morning just went to Joe Biden all at once in a couple of locations. Are you fucking kidding me? No. So that really caused me to question the integrity of our elections, and I became an election denier, or a conspiracy theorist and a threat to democracy, as you guys often so frankly and candidly say. And that turned me more towards Trump, because instead of being given the honest opportunity to really investigate these things, he met obstruction after obstruction after obstruction, denial, dismissal. They did everything they could to run that clock. Everything they could. I had real genuine questions, and I could not trust our elections, which turned me off of our elections even further, because the side that is supposed to be all pro-democracy really wasn't. Then came Inauguration Day. I cannot tell you how frustrated I was at that point in time and how obsessed I had gotten over politics, something I traditionally would not take with much in the way of grain of salt. But I was so upset and I was so frustrated. But I said, well, you know what? I don't like this, but I'm going to try and find a way to deal with it. And I did. Then the mandates rolled around, showing me very oppressive policies and practices. That if you don't get your shot, or if you don't do your testing, or if you don't do this, or you don't do that, you are a horrible person, you're a threat to everybody around you, and all this other 9 yards shit. So that became a very big issue for me, because I started to say, why are they pushing this so hard? Clearly there's something more to it than just the health of every American, because those who get the shots, by premise of how a vaccine works, you get additional boost of protection. Which means whether or not I get it is seemingly irrelevant. You're going to be fine because you had an immunity booster. So why the mandate? If you get it, great. If you don't, hey, that's fine. But understand that there were countermeasures in place that you could do to deal with a respiratory problem. Which means it's all in the lungs, all in the nose, like a standard cold. Respiratory problem. So why the fuck did we have to do anal probes in some cases to check if we had COVID? Why was that a thing? Think about it. So, the mandates rolled around. Day one of Biden being in office, he ended all things Trump. So the economy crashing, the fuck up that happened in Afghanistan, the whole 9 yards. That was all 110% on Biden at that point in time. Including all economic decisions, all energy independence, everything was Biden's doing and his handlers. Think about that. That isn't me, that isn't Trump, that isn't anybody in the MAGA movement. That was all Biden. He ended all things Trump. Everything. You can't blame Trump for any of that because Biden already ended it. But here you guys do it all over again. And then it was denial, it was gaslighting, it was pretending that it didn't happen, it was ignoring it, like Palestine, Ohio, the hurricanes in North Carolina is a more recent event, the whole 9 yards. You guys kept ignoring shit. And that is so infuriating to me. People that are supposed to be my neighbors are ignoring very real issues that affect all of us. I tried to be nice. I still try to be nice and civil. Even if I completely disagree with your ideology or your perspective, I still try to be nice. Because I understand that not everybody agrees with me. And that's okay. And then 2024 rolls around. We are now, 2 weeks after the election? And you guys are still going off on this idea that Trump is this horrible Hitler-like person when he had his entire first term to do the things you guys are talking about, and he didn't. That is a very clear indication to me, along with all of these accusations and all these claims, that again, I still read every single one. Because part of me still wanted to believe that he was guilty of something. So I read every single accusation, every new claim, every new court case that came out, and I couldn't find the concrete proof that I needed. Which told me that these were drummed up charges, making it phony and fake, which further, drove me to support the guy. Come on, folks. Grow up. Jiminy Christmas, I've never seen so many ignorant idiots in the world as I do out of the Democrat Party. And I pity you. I pity you so much. Because I used to have riveting conversations that really helped me expand my understanding of the world around me. And now I can't get that from you guys. I get unhinged, crazy rants to the point where now I've gotten so frustrated with you guys, I'm doing the exact same thing, and I'm going on almost 20 minutes doing this. Whether this movie or whether this video ever gets seen or not, we'll see. But the 2024 election rolled around. Trump wins. Not only did he win by the popular vote, he won all swing states, got 312 electoral college votes, and on the coattails of his election, he turned a Senate slim majority over into something a bit more decent and larger. He also managed to get the majority of House. And now, if things continue to go through, he could potentially call in 2 more SCOTUS picks, which would fundamentally change and cause to stick just about anything that he chooses to do. He wants to tackle homelessness. He wants to create organized tent cities, rehabilitate those that are looking to be rehabilitated, and perhaps offer basic amenities towards those that don't. I don't know how he's going to plan on doing that latter part, but he's talking about doing that. You have Russia that is looking to de-escalate the war with Ukraine and end it. You have Hamas that is looking to stop all aggressive acts, which in turn Israel is very happy about, mind you. You have Qatar, who is looking to remove all of their Hamas-appointed positions. You have, what is it? You got China, Xi Jinping, who's looking to have peaceful and friendly relations with the U.S. all over again, because he knows he's fucked. He knows that he's going to get screwed in trade war, and all the aggressive actions and posturing that he's done over the last 4 years, it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. How badly, I don't know. But I'm seeing all of these really positive things that are happening because Trump won the election that I want to happen. I am tired of the bloodshed. I am tired of the endless wars. I am tired of the needless spending of our hard-earned money in taxes towards things that I don't think anybody really truly approves of because we have no business being over there. Our money belongs here. We've got more than enough problems at home. We got Mexico that is now actively looking to secure the northern border and prevent people from hopping the fence. So stay in Mexico happened as a natural consequence of Trump being elected again. The latest caravan got disbanded. You have bold statements about a war on the cartels. Now, whichever side of the fence those guys are on, they're going to get it. And I'm going to be very happy about that, because we've had a major drug trafficking problem, a major human trafficking problem across our southern border. And you're an idiot if you can't see it at this point in time. I am done apologizing, and I am done trying to be nice. You guys created a royal shit show of a mess over these last 4 years, and you showed us your complete incompetence and unwillingness to help make this country a very stable and safe place to live. I am all for letting people come here, but I want them to come here by legal means. I want them to come through the official ports of entry. I don't want them to be asylum seekers or claim to be asylum seekers. I want them to come here because they're going through the same legal routes that anybody else who wishes to migrate goes through, not just hop the border and then call for asylum. It doesn't work that way. I am sorry, it just does not work that way. You have to accommodate the new influx of people coming in to equalize it with the number of people that are already here. They do have to assimilate into our culture. They can't just replace it with their own. You also have ample example of Democrats that are running and registering these illegals to vote, and that shouldn't be happening either. They have no moral ties or duties to the U.S. It's to wherever they came from. So come on, guys. If you want to get all high and pious, check yourselves first.